You're not saying this as somebody who's sitting up in hospice or a cancer patient or whatever. Half the country is getting cancer. Half, like 40% of the nation's going to die from cancer. Half of all black people have it or get it or going to get it. So to me, I don't understand this idea that somehow you think that you're going to be young and strong for the rest of your life. At some point, you may need help, and pouring into those kids, those little concepts, pouring into those concepts, making them into full-grown, functional adults, I think should also come with some sort of shaping of their value system to let them know that they do have some obligation to the family. The family does not own you. You have freedoms, you have liberties, and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, we need each other. And I think that and this is important in my opinion because it speaks in contradiction to why I believe America is falling apart. I believe that America's falling apart, and I believe young people are struggling. Think about it. Most young people, how many of y'all seen those studies? Most young people can't even afford to buy a house. They're out here, I mean, just devastated, miserable, crying on the internet, getting on TikTok. That's the trend now, right? We get on TikTok and cry about our problems, and they're crying and they're sad and they're struggling. Why? Well, because it's really hard for them to get by. It's really hard for them to pay bills, and part of what I believe is going on, and part of the reason that I believe that they're struggling so much is because we let go of our commitment to community. We are so focused on this so-called false idea of rugged individualism that you don't understand a basic idea. You don't understand from a basic standpoint that doing it together makes everything easier. That it's easier to win a basketball game if you got teammates. It's hard to win the game by yourself. So winning the economic game is better when you have teammates. This is where I really want to tell you, and I have to say this to make sure it's clear. I don't want anybody to ever come in here and accuse me of being a capitalist because I'm not. I'd never. I'm not. There's so many flawed angles to that whole concept. I am not a capitalist. And also, I personally think that some of these ideas in our society where everybody should just go in their own direction, do whatever the hell they want, and I'm you got to respect my pronouns, and you got to just everybody just kind of going ballistic and doing whatever they want and being selfish. I don't see how you can survive when you're thinking that way because what's going to happen is you end up isolated, and when you're isolated, you can't survive. A lot of people can't survive. The average cost to rent apartments now, the average cost to buy homes now, the average cost to have financial security now has gotten really, really high. Really, really high. And it's going to continue to get worse because despite the fact that I sit here and I talk to you all every single day about how the old process is not working, there's millions of people that are not going to hear it. There's so many people that are going to keep walking right like little sheep, walk right down into the pit, and then they get in the pit and they're like, yeah, yeah. They start crying because in that pit is a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in the pit. So a lot of people are in the pit feeling their pain. And when you're reading articles or you're looking online and you're seeing young people under the age of 35 screaming about how hard it is, that to me is pain in the pit. Yeah, yeah, it's so hard. Yeah, I can't afford it. Yeah, right. And I get all that. My heart goes out to you. It really does. And I'm not making fun of you at all. I get it. Corporations are screwing you. They are. Your government is screwing you. Rich people don't give a damn about you. I understand these things more than you'll ever know. I get it. So what you got to do is you got to remember Einstein's definition of insanity was what? Doing the same thing over and over again and thinking that you're going to get a different result. So if you're approaching this economy the same way your dad did in the 1980s and doing exactly what everybody else is doing, then you're going to get exactly what everybody else is getting. And that standard approach is public school, student loans, super deep in debt, chasing jobs, one stream of income, excessive consumerism. All these things pretty much make you a slave and a commodity and an individual that benefits the capitalist system, but you're not a beneficiary. You're getting used up, but you're getting no ROI on what you're giving. You're giving more than you're receiving, which means you're at a net loss. And that's why you're 38 or not even 38, 28, 29 years old, working your butt off, and you can't even afford your apartment. So, what are a couple quick ideas? Because I'm solution oriented. A couple quick ideas to consider is number one. I really think we got to really rethink the concepts of things like family. When you're like 30 years old and you want to just be single and live your best life and all that, I get that. I totally understand that. But if you're able to compromise with a family situation, two incomes are usually better than one. So if I'm making 60, she's making 60, then we're making 120. We're not struggling anymore if we're financially intelligent. Number two, the way people spend money is absolutely unbelievable and outrageous. They spend a lot of money on things that they don't actually need. It's a bunch of nonsense. Be careful with that. Number three, one stream of income coming from one job is about the most vulnerable position you could ever be in this economy. Corporations are not loyal to you like that. Them hoes ain't loyal. Those hoes ain't loyal. They are not on any level committed to making sure that you are going to be as financially secure as your grandma was when she spent 30 years working at General Electric. It ain't the same economy. So, really, that idea of multiple streams of income is absolutely essential. Understanding family is absolutely essential. And when you're building family, I think that one thing that happens in this world of rugged individualism is that we're not raised to appreciate and to respect the tremendous compromises that come with keeping a family together. It's not easy. It's hard to just do everything you want to do the way you want to do it and be this completely free individual and still be accountable to a bunch of other people that are in your house. It's hard. It's hard to be part of a team because you got to be a team player. And I see a lot of young people who don't think that way. They're like, well, I'll be part of a team as long as I get this and I get that and I get what I want and I can do whatever I want and blah, blah. That don't work. That's not going to work for you. That's okay to think that way, but you're going to be doing it all by yourself. So I hope that you're prepared to pay all those bills by yourself. And if you got kids, I hope you're prepared to pay the child support or take care of the kids on your own.